he was with the Mets, he threw 6 different pitches. Came over to the Yankees and he streamlined a little bit. Was more of a 2-pitch pitcher, relying on his sinker and his cutter 70% of the time. What's his role? He's a swing man. The Yankees are building him up to be a starter. But when you look at their rotation, he is someone who is ticketed for the bullpen. But Aaron Boone likes having those relievers in the pen who can give you more than 1 inning. And then Blackburn would probably want us to emphasize the final note. Stay on the mound. From 2022 to 2025, 7 different IL stints for Paul Blackburn. Wants to stay healthy this season.
Let's take a look at the Yankees defense as Paul Blackburn makes his first spring start. You have Spencer Jones in left field, Trent Grisham in center, Aaron Judge in right, and then in the infield, Paul Goldschmidt, Jazz Chisholm Jr., Jose Caballero at short. Jonathan Ornelas is the third baseman. Austin Wells doing the catching for the 32-year-old right-hander who's ready to go. It's his second spring appearance. Pitched 2 innings relief on Monday against the Pirates, and the first pitch of the game fouled off.
We talked about that pitch mix, Justin. You're going to see a lot of sinkers, a lot of cutters. After that, sweeper, curveball. He'll throw his changeup, throw his 4-seamer minimally. That's the pitch you'll see the least of.
He's entering his 10th season in the big leagues. First-round pick by the Cubs in 2012. He opened the season last year with the Mets, Jack. Was released in August. He talked about all of the IL stints. He was bothered by knee and shoulder injuries. And then he signed with the Yankees. Shortly thereafter, he had one very rocky first appearance, but after that he pitched pretty well.
That's what the Yankees point to. His last 7 regular season games, an ERA of 1.5. Actually made his postseason debut against these Blue Jays, allowed 4 runs in 1 of the 3rd innings. He'd like to have that appearance back.
Smacked deep into center field. Grisham on the chase, makes the catch right in front of the wall, and Jimenez is retired. Let's take a look at the umpire scouting report brought to you by your local Kia dealers. Sean Barber calling balls and strikes. He is very hitter friendly. Few outside strikes, fewer high strikes on right-handers. Entering his 13th major league season.
Something to keep an eye on, and another thing to keep an eye on, obviously the automated ball strike system that is in play. We're going to talk about that throughout the game. And the Yankees have been aggressive, Justin, as they said they would be. 31 challenges by the Yankees so far this spring. That's a Major League Baseball high. They're right around 500, 16-15.
They had a big win in Fort Myers yesterday, 17-5. 5 home runs were hit, including homers from Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones, but they also did lose their challenges very early in that game. We saw it go the other way earlier in the spring. Yesterday, they lost both challenges before the 3rd inning. Chopped back over the mound. Right there behind second base is Caballero, 2 away.
One interesting challenge yesterday came from Luis Gil. It was a fastball up in the zone. He challenged it 1.5 inches out of the zone. That's probably not one you want to be pursuing. We've heard certain pitchers, I think of Chris Sale, saying that he is not going to challenge. A lot of people have said pitchers, when they land, where is their head? Then are they seeing the strike zone as well as they should? There's a motion attached. I think the catcher is best suited to challenge, or maybe the hitter right here.
Davis Schneider coming through, trying to challenge. The ABS powered by T-Mobile, and it is a strike.
I don't know about you, Justin, but I love this system. I love that the pursuit is in getting the call right. I love that it's quick. Major League Baseball has said that the average on these calls at the AAA level is about 15 seconds. The average per game was about 4 challenges, so you're looking about adding around a minute to a game, and let's get the call right. And I love the strategy of it, what we said earlier. Now, I think the Yankees are being especially aggressive in spring training, but I love the strategy of when are you going to use your challenges.
So Blue Jays manager John Schneider talked about Aaron Boone keeping the Yankees aggressive. He said at least early on in Grapefruit League play, there's only going to be a handful of players that have the green light to challenge calls. Schneider is one of them. He also mentioned Alejandro Kirk, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but they are keeping their hitters in check in terms of challenges. Snyder pops out, and Paul Blackburn retires the side in order. Yankees coming up to hit next on Yes. Back in Tampa, bottom of the first. Yankees coming up to hit for the first time this afternoon. Trent Grisham, Aaron Judge, and Jazz Chisholm Jr. make up the top third of this Yankees lineup, followed by Paul Goldschmidt, Austin Wells, Jose Caballero. Ryan McMahon does the DHing. Jonathan Ornelas, a late insertion into the lineup. You heard Meredith before talking about why Ahmed Rosario is scratched. And Spencer Jones, an impressive prospect, making his mark early on in Grapefruit League plays. We take a look at Blue Jays veteran right-hander Jose Barrios. Appeared in 31 games, 30 of which were starts, 9-5 record, a 4.17 ERA. Let's check out the Hyundai pitcher's scouting report.
Justin, he's looking for a fresh start. Went on the IL for the first time last year. Wasn't on the World Series roster. He left the team. That created some friction. He actually apologized to his teammates this spring. What's his role? When everyone's healthy, he's going to be in the bullpen. But with Bieber likely sidelined at the start of the season, he should be at the back end of the rotation. And the final point of the scouting report was no doubt. It has nothing to do with the Gwen Stefani-led band. It's about his elbow. He came into spring training, said he feels healthy. Last year, he had doubts about the elbow.
Ironic, because this time last year, he said, yeah, he started to have some doubts, started to feel something, yet he pitched through that pain.
And there cannot be a worse feeling as a pitcher, Justin, than to show up for spring training and have that. Now, he is called the Iron Man, and he wears that title and that mantle very proudly. David Cohn, Al Leiter, so many pitchers have told me over the years that, listen, if you didn't pitch every time you felt something, you probably wouldn't pitch half the time. But clearly something was up, because he later had issues during the year, and he's trying to reclaim his status. He's used to being an ace. He's used to being a top of the rotation guy. But Justin, when you look at that Blue Jays rotation, Bieber, Cease, Yasavage, Gausman, Ponce, Max Scherzer just rejoined the team. Lauer is another pitcher who will probably end up in the bullpen. So when they're healthy, he's probably going to be a pen option.
Barrios did pitch earlier this week. He threw 47 pitches in his first spring outing. Then he went to the bullpen and threw 13 more. So he's pretty built up to start the spring. The idea is that he could join Team Puerto Rico if they get out of the first round of the WBC. But you just talked about the starting pitching depth. You have a mix of guys who are maybe built up a little bit more than usual, but also they pitched deep into October last year, so it's a mixture of slow play and some other guys being built up early.
No doubt, and there's that projected rotation. And you look at somebody like Yasavage, who is the Blue Jays version of Cam Schlittler. That's an arm they're going to want to make sure that they are careful with this year. Scherzer, as we said, just rejoined the team. Cease was an early signing in the offseason. 7 years, $210 million.
Well, here's Aaron Judge. Final game before the captain departs for Team USA. Bounces it to short. Over to first. Throw is wide. Judge will be safe at first base as the Yankees avoid the double play. Low throw from Jimenez at second. So 1 on, 1 out, and the batter will be Jazz Chisholm Jr.
Take one more look at that, and this has tailor-made DP written all over it, but as you said, Jimenez just yanks the throw and unable to be retrieved at first base by Keys. So Judge reaches first on that error.
Here's Chisholm. Hit a home run the other day. So far 4 for 8 in Grapefruit League play. And you see his numbers from 2025 on the heels of some early proclamations in camp wanting to join Shohei Ohtani in the 50-50 club.
Justin, you walk into a baseball clubhouse as a reporter, as an analyst, you want content. Jazz Chisholm is an honest man, and I appreciate that. And why shouldn't he think that way? He was a 30-30 guy last year, despite missing a chunk of time. If you prorated his numbers last year across a 162-game season, he's about a 40-40 guy. Why shouldn't he think he can go 50-50?
And again, 31 homers and 31 stolen bases in fewer than 500 at-bats. It's pretty remarkable. Out in the field, Jazz is breaking in his WBC glove. His really cool UK-themed glove. Hard roller to first. Another chance at a double play. This time they get him. And the Yankees are done here in the bottom of the first. They go in order after the twin killer. On to the second. Scoreless game.
On how to keep yourself and those you care about safe online. Go to cisa.gov/secure our world.
Hey, score big on authentic gear at MLBshop.com. From official jerseys and memorabilia to hats and hoodies, we've got the season covered. Visit MLBshop.com/Yankees, the official source for your Yankees gear. Each team going in order in the first inning. Here's Eloy Jimenez, former White Sox, now trying to earn a spot for the Blue Jays. You see what he did last year in AAA. 2025 was the first season since he broke into the majors in which he did not play in the big leagues. He's been slowed by a lot of injuries over the last several years. Nearly decided to retire, but he kept going. He's only 29. And he went and played in the Winter League, Jack. He was named the MVP for the part that's pretty equivalent to a championship series. A chance for Ornelas. And the throws in time to get Jimenez.
Yeah, he's an interesting player to watch for the Blue Jays because of what you pointed out. Big numbers in the Dominican Winter League. 5 homers and a slugging percentage of .426 in 36 games. But Can he reclaim that power that he showed earlier in his career? 2019, he breaks in with the White Sox. He's got a 31 homer season as a 22-year-old. Signed a minor league deal with the Blue Jays, and so far this spring they've liked the results. Long way to go.
Yeah, Blue Jays people say he's been one of the surprises of the spring. Here's Tyler Heineman. Figures to back up Alejandro Kirk. When you think about Eloy Jimenez and another big Blue Jay, obviously Vladimir Guerrero Jr., you go back toward them on the verge of making their debuts as Heineman lofts it into right field for the first base hit of the afternoon. It was Vlad Jr., it was Jimenez. 1, 2, top 3 at the most for top prospects around the game for most publications. And early on, they both lived up to the hype. And Eloy Jimenez actually got his extension before he reached the majors. They've kind of obviously diverted, and like we mentioned, Jimenez has suffered a lot of injuries, his body betraying him a little bit, but now they're on the same team. There's Miles Straw, speedy center fielder, dependable glove.
What you just spoke about proves so succinctly how everyone's journey is going to be different. And I'm sure when Jimenez had that season as a rookie, he did not anticipate several years later that he'd be signing minor league deals and trying to make a team.
Roped hard on the ground. Ornelas to second, to first, double play. 5-4-3, twin killer. Blackburn gets out of the second, facing the minimum.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Yankees Baseball.
Welcome back to Yankee Spring Training, presented by your local Ford stores. Legacies are proven on the field. Start yours in the legendary Ford Bronco, the official SUV of the Yankees. Beautiful afternoon here in Tampa. Paul Goldschmidt will dig in. Yankees cleanup batter this afternoon, playing first base. He's going to depart for Team USA as well. He's off to a pretty monster start here in Grapefruit League play. 6 for 12 with a pair of homers.
Really liked the signing of Goldschmidt and bringing him back, understanding that it's going to be a different role for him. Ben Rice is obviously the starting first baseman, but what Goldschmidt does against lefties, Justin, and what he just brings defensively and in the clubhouse, even base running, you watch the impact that he had on and off the field for the Yankees last season. It was very smart and very shrewd to bring him back in this role.
Against left-handers, we saw at times last year Goldschmidt actually hitting the leadoff spot, and everyone's trying to visualize a lefty hitting lineup for the Yankees now with Goldschmidt back in the mix, and I wonder if he's going to see time in the leadoff spot against lefties.
I could easily see Aaron Boone doing that. There are the numbers right there that we're talking about. We would imagine that Grisham will lead off against righties, but why wouldn't you want that on-base percentage and that lefty masher leading games off for you? I remember last spring when it came up, he had never done it in his career. Here's some looks at what he's done this spring. And Aaron Boone said he was going to toy with it, and then as you said, they ended up doing it a lot.
Big crack off a right-hander last week. Again, 6 hits in 4 games so far this spring. And he works a walk to lead it off.
I had a conversation with Goldschmidt last year about his base running because Yankee officials and even other teams' scouts will tell you about how well he runs the bases, and he gave credit way back to his Diamondbacks days about how Eric Young Sr. took him into a video room and started showing him some video and said, there are a lot of ways you can extend your career. There's a lot of ways you can have a long career. Doing things like running the bases well will be one of them. And this guy's had a potential Hall of Fame career, but he took those words from Young very seriously, and it's clearly a part of his game that I think is underrated.
He was talking with reporters the other day specifically about what's going on now with him and first base and Ben Rice, and he said one of the first things I look for with a young player who may be learning a new position, in this case with Rice in first base, isn't so much about certain skill sets, it's does he want to get better? And Paul said that's what you notice from a guy like Ben Rice, but he had to learn that from somewhere earlier in his career.
I've used this phrase many times, Justin, but I'm going to repeat it. I feel as if heading into last offseason, Ben Rice gave himself a homework assignment. I'm going to come back bigger. I'm going to come back stronger. I'm going to come back better. I'm going to come back more athletic. And if you watched him last spring, it was immediately noticeable how bigger and stronger he was, and results showed it. The way that he was hitting the baseball, Rice hit the baseball last spring unlike any time he had ever hit it in his career, and then that carried over into the season.
7-time All-Star, 4-time Gold Glove winner, as Austin Wells fouls the pitch back. Wells 2 for 10 in spring action. He's going to be joining the Dominican Republic for the World Baseball Classic, so he's got some heavy responsibility catching the DR and all the talent that's on that team. I would imagine, look, if you give managers like Aaron Boone around the majors some truth serum, would he like his starting catcher to be missing for 2+ weeks? Probably not, but we often hear about the relationships that Austin Wells has built with the entire pitching staff. It probably softens the blow just a bit.
Right, I think when you look at the WBC, every team that sends its players, they would tell you honestly, they've got their fingers crossed. They want them to come back healthy. They want them to come back ready to play for their team. That's a nice pitch right there by Barrios. Nice two-seamer, and you can see Wells fooled by that. One more look at this pitch. Yeah, Greg Maddux would be proud of that. Wells fooled, he goes down looking.
Came back in on the lefty. So Wells down looking. Here's Jose Caballero, who's going to be playing for Panama.
We should point out, by the way, Wells's mom, Michelle, of Dominican descent. Both his mom and his dad were college athletes at the University of Arizona. His dad was a baseball player. His mom was a gymnast. And he is looking forward to playing in the WBC for the Dominican Republic.
Michelle's maiden name is Fernandez, and her father is from and resided in the Dominican Republic, and the Wells family would go there often for vacation. Austin talked about it, and go horseback riding on the beach. So he's joining the DR. 0-2 is low and away.
Dominican Republic won the WBC in 2013. Justin, Japan has won it in 06, 09, and the last time it was contested in 23. The U.S. has won once in 2017.
1-2. Came inside, nearly hit him. Did it hit him? Caballero will stay in.
Let's take another look.
That was close. Two. Shallow center. A chance for Straw. 2 away.
Really curious to see what the Yankees get out of Ryan McMahon offensively this year. Justin, the next hitter, he's told reporters in Tampa about how he has narrowed his stance. It's really allowed his hands to stay higher. It's allowed him to let pitches travel. We've already seen him hit the ball the opposite way a couple of times this spring. The Yankees felt there was more to unlock there. He had one of the widest stances in Major League Baseball last year.
His first pitch swinging here. Straw in center, puts it away again, and the side retired. We'll go to the third, scoreless in Tampa. Tomorrow on Yes, the Nets are in Brooklyn for a matchup with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Coverage starts at 3 o'clock with the FanDuel Nets pregame. That is tip-off set for 3:30 on Yes and the Gotham Sports app. Saturday on the Bay, also here at the ballpark. Justin Shackle, Jack Curry, Meredith Marakovitz with you. Your Yankee spring training baseball. Yanks 6-2 so far in Grapefruit League play. Blue Jays 1-5. Here's their first baseman, Sean Keys.
We look at that Blue Jays lineup today, Justin. Have to point out, no Guerrero Jr., no Kirk, no Varsho. Obviously, Bo Bichette is now a Met. And this is a team that, after getting to Game 7 of the World Series last year, is trying to return and win it this year. No Springer today either. No Okamoto, the Japanese import. But the only team in the last 65 years, Justin, to lose a Game 7 of the World Series and then come back the next year and win it, Kansas City Royals, 2014 to 2015. That was in an article by Jason Stark in The Athletic, talking about how the Blue Jays absorbed the Game 7 loss. I recommend anyone to read it. Nice changeup there by Blackburn.
So Bichette received a big free agent deal. They're moving Jimenez over to shortstop. How do you think they're going to fare without Bo Bichette?
Listen, Bo Bichette, when he was healthy, nice pitch by Blackburn there. You could lock him in for 180, 190 hits. He was an offensive machine. Jimenez, though, proved in the postseason, especially defensively, what he can do.
A cue shot off the end of the bat of Arjun Namala, former first-round pick, 2-1.
I think when we talk about Bichette's absence, even more than Jimenez, I turn my eyes to Okamoto. What is he going to give them offensively to make up and offset some of the loss of what Bichette would have given you offensively?
So Okamoto signed with the Blue Jays in the offseason, a 4-year deal, big power hitter out of Japan. He's playing in the WBC, but he left a few days ago to go back to Japan because obviously their pool play begins in Asia. So his last game was on Thursday. Toronto also has a split squad day today. They're playing the Phillies back in Dunedin. Charles McAdoo.
When you have a split squad and you're a veteran, and if you're not traveling to WBC, there's a good chance that you'll stick around and play for the home side, stay in Dunedin and not have to get on a bus, even though Dunedin and Tampa are really close. 20 miles or so.
The Yankees played there earlier this week. This line on one hop over the glove of Ornelas down the left field line. And McAdoo gets himself a base hit.
Tough chance for Ornelas, who was in the game because of Rosario's scratch. We'll take one more look at it. Ball might jump on him a little bit at the end. I'm sure he'd probably tell you, Justin, that's a play he should have made because he's known for his defense. He won the Rangers Minor League Defender of the Year award in 2023. His glove has been his calling card.
Second at bat for Leo Jimenez this afternoon. Blue Jays leadoff hitter who's playing second base in this game. 207 hitter in 81 career major league games.
Can I out myself on something, Justin?
What happened, Jack?
First spring training game of the year on the scorecard. I look at the Blue Jays lineup. I start writing it in. Jimenez, Barger, Schneider. Wait, there's another Jimenez.
That's right.
You have Leo leading off. You have Eloy Jimenez hitting cleanup. Did not like having to go to the whiteout right out of the gate.
I'm of the opinion that we go through more whiteout in Grapefruit League play than we do the entire regular season.
No argument for me on that one.
Changes should be coming, what, mid-game or so, as a lot of the Yankees starters again will be departing Tampa and joining their World Baseball Classic rosters.
Talk about the Yankee offseason, and we know that their priority was Bellinger, and they eventually did sign Bellinger. One guy they signed quickly is the guy who just got the ground ball to end that inning. Minor league deal for Blackburn in November.
Bottom of the third coming up. Scoreless game.
To test the toughness of the Kia Sorento X Pro,
Thursday afternoon, catch the next spring training game on Yes as the Yankees take on the Minnesota Twins here at Steinbrenner Field. Live coverage starts at 1 o'clock on Yes and the Gotham Sports app. This season, just say yes for Yankees baseball. Here's Jonathan Ornelas getting the start at third base, batting 8th today. Heard Jack talk about his sharp play as a member of the Rangers organization. He's had a couple cups of coffee with the Rangers and the Braves.
Swings over that slurve, a pitch that Barrios uses a lot. But how about this nugget on Ornelas, Justin? He was drafted in 2018 out of high school. 91st pick overall. He signed for $622,000. The guy who was picked right in front of him, number 90, guy by the name of Cal Raleigh.
Wow. He filled in the middle of the Texas infield in recent seasons when Corey Seager was hurt. He gets rung up on strikes, 1 away. It's the second strikeout of the day for Barrios. Good drop.
Yeah, nice changeup. This stuff has looked good. You mentioned his previous outing. Yeah, you see he had Ornelas buckling on that pitch. His previous outing, it was 17 pitches to cover 2 innings, and then slogged his way through a 30-pitch inning. But I imagine when you've had the success that he has had in his career, and then you have a down year as you did the year before that ends in a way you didn't want it to end, you're coming back and expecting big things.
Well, he's facing Spencer Jones here, who is doing nothing but hitting home runs so far. 3 homers. He's homered in 2 straight. David Cohn, Joe Girardi, they've documented the adjusted swing and approach at the plate. What do you think of it?
I heard Coney use the phrase Ohtani-like, and first of all, David's a baseball genius, so I know he doesn't say that lightly, but it is that toe tap, and if that mechanism, that timing mechanism, is what works for you, Justin, that's what you have to go to. And Aaron Judge spoke about it, and the fact that once you get that front foot established, and we watch, it's pretty modest. He gets that foot in position very quickly, and he feels that could help him against some high fastballs.
Gets a piece of the slurve.
The power is there. 35 homers at AAA, and here's one of the homers so far this spring training, Justin.
The cars out on Dale Mabry Highway are not safe with Spencer Jones hitting. 35 homers last year across double in AAA. 2-2. What a charge into this one, into deep center, but it'll stay in the park. Straw makes the catch for the second out.
And he's facing a guy, major league veteran, a guy with a lot of success in Barrios, and as you said, he squared that pitch up. It's the swing and miss with Jones, and he's talked about it. The Yankees have talked about it. It's trying to figure out a way to remedy that, and perhaps this new stance, this new wrinkle, and getting himself in hitting position sooner and not having yourself eaten up by some of those high fastballs. Perhaps that will be a remedy for him. With the way the Yankees are constructed right now, roster-wise, the likelihood is he will start the season at AAA, but it's a long season, and injuries occur, ineffectiveness happens. Spencer Jones has to just convince himself that he needs to keep producing and keep the pressure on the Yankees to want him at the major league level.
I always love how Aaron Boone, almost every year now, makes a point to reference the fact that, look, at the start of spring, right now, the Yankees have 70 players in camp, and he addresses the entire group, and he always talks about, hey, there's someone in this room that is going to impact the major league roster who maybe the outside world isn't counting on. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. And we're going to talk with Aaron Boone coming up in the top of the 4th. Still scoreless here in Tampa.
yankees.com/foundation.
Start of the fourth in Tampa. Paul Blackburn going back out to work. He's thrown 33 pitches so far. And as usual, at the top of the fourth, we're joined with Yankees manager Aaron Boone. Aaron, it's Justin and Jack. Good to talk to you. That one goes into right field. Leadoff single. So, Aaron, got a lot of regulars who are going to be departing the team later today for the WBC. I can hear it in your voice with that yeah right there. But let's focus on the positives from the Yankees perspective here. How might this early build-up for the World Baseball Classic serve some of these players well for the regular season?
No, I'm actually, honestly, for the most part, I'm really excited for all these guys. You know, what a great opportunity. I feel like all of them are ready to go and in a good place. You know, obviously you hold your breath a little bit, especially with some of the pitchers, but you know, they're ready for it. And to their credit, you know, they came in really good places to prepare themselves for it. With the position players here, I've gotten all these guys really regular reps and feel like they're built up pretty well. So I'm excited for them. I'm excited to see the tournament unfold.
Aaron, I spoke to Mark DeRosa a couple of weeks ago, and he said that once he got Judge's commitment and that Judge was secure and that he was going to play, it really had a trickle-down effect and an impact on other players wanting to make sure they were part of this. You get to witness Judge's impact every day. When I tell you that anecdote from DeRosa, what's your reaction?
Not surprised. I mean, I know it doesn't surprise you guys. I mean, you see how people just that get to play with him, whether they come through our system, whether they come from another team. He just has a way about him that, you know, everyone wants to, you know, wants his approval, and in such a good way, just because he makes you feel such a part of things. And I think he has that reputation, obviously, around the league. So not surprising. And what's cool is it feels like that USA fever pitch of like, okay, now all the, not that it hasn't been big before, because it obviously have, but I think the last one where you had Japan USA final, like it captured the baseball world, and I think USA has got to that point to where we see, like with the DR and with Japan, where it is just such a sense of pride, and I know these guys are really excited to go do it.
So from one star to another, Aaron, you know, Garrett Cole threw another live bullpen yesterday. I know you were in Fort Myers, but what were the reports like for Cole's bullpen?
Really good live. Yeah, he was live through all his pitches in this one. He's been great. The stuff's been excellent. Command has already been there. I feel like he's really sharp already. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised since it's Garrett, but he's in a really good spot here.
Soft liner to second. Jazz will double him up over at first. Double play helping out Paul Blackburn and the Yankees. Aaron, thank you so much. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Middle.
Dear
All right, Jack, we are back in 2026 with Name That Yankee, brought to you by Prevagen, made for your brain, as you take a look at some of the career stats for almost a journeyman type of player who, by the looks of it, still active. And you see the number 3 in the middle of the baseball, top right of the corner. That is the difficulty level for this one. Started his career with the Mets, a couple of stints with the Dodgers, joined the Yankees last season.
I think I'm on it, Justin.
Yeah.
I think I'm on it. I'm glad Name That Yankee is back. When I'm doing the pregame and the postgame and that pops up, I like being challenged.
Speaking of challenges for Jose Barrios on the mound for the Blue Jays, Aaron Judge standing in, second at bat of the day. Starts him off with a slider that catches the inside corner of the plate. We're talking to Aaron Boone about what Mark DeRosa said to you and DeRosa's recruitment probably around this time last year of Aaron Judge to play for Team USA, and it's been nothing but excitement for Aaron Judge ahead of this tournament. You talked about how the players on the team, they already have separate text threads, one for the position players, another for the pitchers. He's sort of anxious to share a clubhouse with some of the big stars of the game like Bryce Harper. Anything you can kind of pick apart, and you'd imagine that the feeling's mutual.
What's interesting about Judge agreeing to play for Team USA, the person who delivered that news to DeRosa was Andy Pettit, his pitching coach. He contacted him and said, hey, I'm in spring training. I've talked to 99. He's in. So DeRosa immediately made that phone call to Judge, and you talk about that Pied Piper effect. Kyle Schwarber, a pretty fair Major League Baseball player himself, wants to be in Judge's hitting group. He said to DeRosa, I want to soak up some of that knowledge. I want to be around him. And as DeRosa said, in a room of alphas, there's always going to be one who is top of the heap, and Judge is that one.
1-2. Runs inside. Also, if you take a look at the Team USA roster, you're going to have Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh as teammates after a summer of battling for the AL MVP, which Judge ultimately won. Reaches for it. Slow roller. And Malo. And they get Judge.
Yeah, one more look at this, and you see the ground that Namala has to cover. Able to throw out Judge. Reached outside of the zone on that ground ball. But yeah, I think the excitement level, as Aaron Boone mentioned earlier, there is a heightened excitement level. Just finished observing the Olympics, where the U.S. men's and women's hockey team both won golds, and now you move right into the WBC, which obviously doesn't have the history or the fervor of an Olympic Games, but Major League Baseball is hoping that the same kind of excitement and intensity that they saw last year when Japan beat the U.S. and Ohtani got Trout to end the final game, something similar happens.
Yeah, I mean, this tournament, despite being around 20 years, it's still very much in its infancy, and just the growth and interest among Major League players is certainly noticeable as you take a look at all the Yankees participants in the World Baseball Classic. That's on top of a couple of minor league arms who are going to be pitching for other teams. Chisholm ropes a hard grounder to first, 2 away.
Justin, I covered the first 2 World Baseball Classics in 2006 and 2009 when I was a baseball reporter for the New York Times. And if you talk about the growth that has occurred from then until now, it is exponential. Now, again, we always have to put the caveat out there that there are teams who not only cross their fingers when their players go to play in this tournament, there are also teams that don't want their players to play in this tournament. Adam Ottavino, who works for us, in our final hot stove show of the season said he was denied playing a couple of times.
Goldschmidt pops it up. And it's Leo Jimenez, the second baseman, putting it away. Yankees go down in order in the bottom of the fourth. It's a Citizens call to the bullpen to start inning number 5. David Bednar, the Yankees closer, and also a reliever for Team USA. On to pitch. There you see his numbers from last year. Pitched a scoreless inning of work on Wednesday night at Steinbrenner Field. A lot of high leverage relievers came into that game, and they're expected to come into this game here today. But again, Bednar taking off for Team USA and the WBC later today with a couple of his Yankee teammates. And Meredith, I know Brian Cashman, Yankees senior VP and general manager, spoke with reporters today, and the World Baseball Classic was a big subject.
Justin, he was asked whether or not he is holding his breath as some of his most important pieces are going to play in that WBC. And he said, no, not really at this point. This is the third year. We know it's coming. We prepare for it. They prepare for it. And more than anything, guys, times have changed. It's not like guys come into spring training getting in shape for the season. They're already in shape and ready to go by the time they get here. And I know in speaking with David Bednar, he said he started throwing a little bit earlier to make sure that he was able to ramp up. And with Aaron Judge, who's really been down here all offseason throwing and getting ready. So they're not overly concerned, and these guys are going to go play. So they are just hoping that they come back and they are healthy, but should be a good tournament, to say the least. Some other things that Brian...
Meredith,
Oh, go ahead, Jack.
Go, I'm sorry, Meredith.
Oh, no, I was just going to say some other things that he was talking about. You had mentioned Garrett Cole to Aaron Boone and what he saw during that live session. Cole was actually hitting 95, 96 pretty comfortably throughout that live session. And Brian Cashman said that, you know, it is some reassurance. You never know how a guy is going to come back from Tommy John. That gives you a little bit of comfort in answering that question, that he's starting to look like his old self. Obviously, a lot needs to happen between now and when he actually gets back on a major league mound, but he's certainly moving in the right direction. And as Brian Cashman put it, Garrett Cole is methodical in everything he does. Why would we think him going through a rehab process would be any different? It seems like he has had nothing but good days in talking to Cole. No hiccups so far in that rehab process. They are just hoping that that continues.
Meredith, you're in that clubhouse every day. Have you observed any WBC trash talking at all? We saw Jazz with the glove today, sporting his colors.
Well, I don't know that there's necessarily been trash talking, but I know when I interviewed Aaron Judge the first game we did on Yes, David Bednar was waiting, or Judge was waiting, I forget which one, but those two were having some fun with each other, talking about how excited they are to go. But a little bit of a funny moment when I walked into the clubhouse today, I was looking for Austin Wells in hopes of setting up an interview for when he comes out of this game before he heads off for the WBC. And guys, he was just sitting there at his chair, like all relaxed in all of his Dominican Republic gear. And I just looked at him like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I got to break it in. I need to break it in before I get out there for the WBC. So he had his elbow guard on, all of his catching equipment, just hanging out, sitting there, enjoying the morning.
I love that. He's going to be part of a talented roster.
Now, here's my other question. Ahmed Rosario's on a flight probably about now, but Wells is still in the game, so is he not required to be there by a certain time?
Right, separate flights booked for those two? Who knows? Wells still in the game. He's going to be coming up next in the bottom of the fifth. Welcome back to Yankee Spring Training, presented by your local Ford stores. Legacies are proven on the field. Start yours in the legendary Ford Bronco, the official SUV of the Yankees. Saw Jack's post-game activities on the bay right there. Austin Wells batting against the new pitcher Ryan Jennings after Jose Barrios went for a scoreless.
I've seen many a person doing that in St. Kitts, my favorite Caribbean island. Love to try. It would never happen, Justin. It would never work.
It looks good from far.
I observe. By the way, we talked so much about the WBC today, and we're going to continue to talk about it throughout the spring. Austin Wells is going to play for the Dominican, and he's going to be managed by Albert Pujols. Within the span of time that they are together, there is wisdom that can be imparted. Albert Pujols was a tremendous hitter, a guy who put so much thought into what he was doing. And Wells put some thought into hustling or walking down first base after that walk. So we talk about all the things that might be missed, and yes, the Yankee hitting coaches can also impart wisdom. But if you're a smart player, you're soaking up knowledge from as many sources as you can, and Pujols would be one of them.
That's a great point, especially as a young player, having the opportunity to just be a sponge on, like we talked about, the enormity and the growing enormity of this tournament. You're going to have the best of the best. For certain nations, ball gets thrown away, but Wells will stay put. You have to be a sponge.
You really should show up with questions, and you really should understand that the experience goes beyond just playing. And Jennings is fortunate that that ball did not trickle too far away. Wells unable to advance.
Here's Caballero. flew out to center in his first plate appearance. We talked about the emergence of Austin Wells as a really good catcher within this league, but took a step back a little bit on offense last year. And he recently admitted to the Post that it has been a challenge for him to sort of better balance the offense and defense when he's prioritizing being there for his pitchers, because that's obviously such a big part of the game. And he said shifting gears to take on his at-bats with a clear mind, it's still been a work in progress for him. But he knows he's capable of more offensively. He feels like he's shown that in spurts in his young big league career.
I would agree with that. You look at the power numbers last year, 20+ homers, 70+ runs batted in. The OPS was slightly over 700, but I think the area that needs improvement, and Wells has talked about this, it's the pitch recognition, Justin. It's making sure that you're not helping the pitcher out. His strikeout percentage went up last year. The walk percentage went down. That's an area that he spoke about trying to make sure he can improve upon.
Well, he drew a leadoff walk here against Ryan Jennings. Caballero holds up on that curve. Payoff pitch on the way. And it's cracked down the left field line. That's a fair ball. It'll go all the way to the corner. Wells racing for third. He's going to get a sharp turn and head for home as the throw comes in. It's an RBI double for Jose Caballero. And the Yankees are on the board first. It's 1-0.
Take a look at it here. It's a breaking pitch, and Caballero reads that out of the hand, and he is all over it, lining it into the left field corner. You talk about players to watch, Justin, as the season begins, and you see the adjustment there, by the way, that last shot that we showed. He kind of stayed back on that pitch once he recognized it was a breaking pitch. Wells, excellent job running the bases. But players to watch, Caballero is one of them. He's starting the season as the starting shortstop. We know Volpe will start the season on the IL. Caballero's mission should be make it hard on the Yankees. Whenever Volpe returns, performs so well that it's a decision for the Yankees about what move they might want to make at that point.
Jose will be starting the season as the shortstop. But again, he's taking off for the World Baseball Classic after today. Here's Ryan McMahon. He hits this pitch hard on the ground. One away. Caballero moves to third. So Jack, this spring, Randy Miller of NJ.com, he's done a fun back and forth questionnaire with a lot of Yankee players, and he did one the other day with Jose. And he was asked, hey, Jose, if you were commissioner, what would be the one rule change that you'd make? And his answer was really interesting, because he said when a close play is under review, they have to decide without taking consideration of the on-field call. So the review's decided on the cameras, not influenced by what the umpires call. What do you think of that?
I like that he gave such a thoughtful answer. And I think it has some merit. Sometimes you'll ask people about being commissioner for a day, and then I've seen a lot of players say have Monday be an off day, just Mondays off throughout the season, so you're guaranteed that one off day per week. But I just like the fact that Caballero put some thought into the answer.
Yeah, he said it. He goes, look, This is going to be deep. You have to stay with me here. And he outlined that. I thought it was very, very thoughtful. But yeah, they have the off day on Mondays in the minors, and a lot of players feel like that should be a rule in the majors.
I like that one. One very simple one, as we see the Jays are playing the infield in here. One very simple one, and we do see some players do this sometimes. I'd love to see one player per inning just toss a ball back and forth with a kid in the stands. I don't think that's a lot to ask for, and I think you've now made that kid a fan for life.
That's a rule that shouldn't have to be officially ratified or anything, right?
It's the human kindness rule.
Second walk of the inning for Ryan Jennings. Yanks have runners at the corners with just one out. Here's Spencer Jones. Jones flew out to center, back in the third. Breaking ball for strike one. So the minors, they have the Mondays off. A big reason why is because they have extended series. They're not playing 3-game series. They're playing five-game series mostly. So when they're on the road, it's an even longer trip. I don't know if the math and the schedule would ever work out that way, but one day off a week is pretty attractive for these players.
Right, how often do we say the Yankees, whomever, they're in a stretch where they'll play 17 days in a row, you'll play 15 days in a row. Might be attractive to have that one day.
Jennings behind 2-1 on Jones. Gets the chase.
So that was interesting right there, because that's a fastball count, and Jennings decides to spin one. Having spoken to Kevin Reese, the Yankees senior director of player development over the years, one thing that he spoke about with Jones is understanding what pitchers are trying to do to you in certain situations. I'm not saying Jones was looking fastball there, but it's a fastball count. Be prepared for what they might try to do differently to you.
Back up the middle. Namala there, and he throws it away. Caballero will come in to score from third as the Yankees take advantage of a throwing error. They have a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, the Blue Jays have had a couple of balls hit to the left side today that probably should have been errors. Misplay on the first one, and now an errant throw on that one. As you said, Justin extends the inning and allows a run to score.
See Spencer Jones hustling out of the box. He'll take second on the throwing error by Namala.
And going back to that pitch sequence, Jennings 2-1 features a curveball, gets the swing and miss, and then 2-2. He's still not going to challenge Jones. He goes changeup, and you saw Jones kind of reach out and hit that softly the other way. So again, just as a young player, understanding what pitchers are going to try to do to you in different circumstances.
At bat number 3 for Trent Grisham today.
Grisham could be impacted by the Yankees signing of Randall Grichuk to a minor league deal, non-roster invite, but someone who has a really good chance to make the team. Right-handed bat who the Yankees can use against lefties. That would probably cause Bellinger to slide over to center field. You put Grichuk in left field. Last year, not as much, but from 22 to 24, Grichuk put up really good numbers against left-handers. And speaking of really good numbers, how about those career highs from Grisham?
Across the board, 34 home runs. Randall Grichuk started working out with the Yankees today in Tampa. So a walk for Trent Grisham. This has been a rough, long inning for Ryan Jennings, and the Jays are going to make a pitching change.
To test the toughness of the Kia Sorento X Pro and the Kia Sorento
New pitcher for the Jays, Kalina Sauer, a right-hander, on to pitch here in the bottom of the fifth. Yankees have scored twice as he deals to Aaron Judge in the captain's third plate appearance today. Fielder's choice and a ground out. Spencer Jones is at second, Trent Grisham at first. And then Sauer with a four-seamer at the knees. Kalina Sauer, 15th round pick by the Blue Jays out of San Diego State in 2023. And another heater. Not too much velocity.
You were in rookie ball last year. You played in the Arizona Fall League in 2025. Welcome to your spring training outing today. There's a couple guys on base, and you've got the reigning MVP in the box.
And Judge calls time. Just enough time to mess up the rhythm of the young pitcher. The cat and mouse game always present with Judge. Here's the 1-2.
Justin, I gotta squeeze this in there because it's too good not to. BaseballReference.com lists Kalina Sauer's full name. His middle name, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, has 20 letters.
Bouncer to short. Namala gets the force. Hawaiian rule is that you pronounce every foul, Jack. Just so you know.
I'm not doing it.
2-0 Yankees. We go to the sixth.
That same.
Ready, Fernando Cruz out to pitch for the Yankees to start the sixth. They have a 2-0 lead on the Blue Jays. 49 games for Cruz last season, in and around a couple of IL stints, but there you see the damage done with that splitter. So Cruz follows Bednar, and will face the number 9 hitter, Charles McAdoo, Jays third baseman. Justin Shackle, Jack Curry with you, along with Meredith Marakovitz. It is the final tune-up for a lot of the players that will be heading off to play in the World Baseball Classic. That includes Cruz. Pitching for Team Puerto Rico. This pitch is lined down the left field line. Waiting for it is Jones. And he gives up a leadoff double to McAdoo. It's youngster's second hit of the day.
Fastball up in the zone that McAdoo gets on top of and lines down the left field line. We'll take one more look at it right here. Actually seemed like it had a little bit of cut to it. Give McAdoo some credit. But as you noted, we can't talk about Cruz without talking about that splitter. And one thing the Yankees have done with pitchers, Justin, is when they target a pitch that they think is the equalizer for that pitcher, they want him to throw it and throw it some more. With the Reds in 24, Cruz threw the splitter 42% of the time. Last year with the Yankees, 60% of the time.
Here's Leo Jimenez, righty on righty.
And one more thought about that splitter. He had a 56.5% whiff rate, which essentially made it the single hardest pitch to hit in the major leagues, ahead of Brendan Little's curveball, Mason Miller's slider, Andres Munoz slider, and Logan Gilbert's splitter. So yes, throw the splitter, throw it again.
This is the second spring game in a row in which the Yankees have a lot of the high leverage relievers piggybacking off one another. So you had Bednar, Cruz, and Tim Hill all pitch a few nights ago, and imagine Tim Hill will get into this game as well.
The issue for Cruz is when he has trouble with walks and when he can't locate. But when he is around the zone, Justin, and he throws that tantalizing splitter that looks like a strike until it's not, a very difficult at bat for hitters.
That one left up. And the count full to Jimenez. 0 for 2 today. Paul Blackburn pitched 4 scoreless innings. One way or another, Charles McAdoo was going to be a good athlete. Cousin of Hall of Famer Bob McAdoo. He didn't go, according to Mark Wegner at first base. Bob McAdoo, one of the greatest big game scorers in NBA history. His father, Michael, also played college hoops. Older brother played college baseball. So yeah, athletics run in the family.
You want to go down a YouTube rabbit hole? I know Bob McAdoo did many more important things than this, but there's a YouTube video of Pistol Pete Maravich and Bob McAdoo playing horse. It's got 2 million views. Have some fun. Go check it out.
Barger rocks it foul. Cruz has surrendered a leadoff double and a walk to start this inning. Charles McAdoo can fly. 34 stolen bases last year at Double-A. The question is, can he shoot? Oh, 2 to Barger.
This is always the question in spring training, right, Justin? You'd love to go out there, any pitcher, and have a clean inning. But now, if you're Cruz, got a good hitter in Barger, you've got Schneider on deck, and you've got to work your way through this. And sometimes when you have a little unrest, you get more out of that outing than if you did just go 3 up, 3 down.
Runners retreat as Grisham makes the catch.
And here's where you're going to mess with the timing of Barger right there. You've mentioned how he's left a couple of those splitters up, trying to find the feel for that pitch. By the way, his glove looks WBC ready as well.
Yes.
Right on the wrist area.
We discussed how Austin Wells is going to have Albert Pujols in his dugout. Well, Carlos Beltran, who's the GM for Team Puerto Rico, personally sought out Fernando Cruz to pitch for his country.
Yeah, we interviewed Carlos Beltran at the winter meetings in Orlando, and his eyes lit up when he talked about Cruz's splitter and how important that could be to a bullpen, having that guy on your roster to come in and just calm things down.
Pitches outside. We have to wish our good friend Carlos big congratulations on his induction coming up later this summer to the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Gets in on his 4th year on the ballot. I have a vote, Justin. I voted for him every year. I think statistically, Beltran was a first ballot Hall of Famer. He himself would admit, we're going to get a challenge.
From the
Pitcher
pitcher.
challenging the ball.
Let's see what this looks like. It's a ball.
So to the naked eye, Justin, I thought that was outside, and it's confirmed by 3 inches. So this could be an example of Cruz just wanting to give it a test drive while he's in a game,
Pitcher's challenging.
because that was not close.
There's more and more evidence mounting, I think, along spring training about pitchers maybe not being the right candidate to issue a challenge.
Well, look where he finishes. He's got such an aggressive and a violent delivery that when Cruz finishes his delivery, he's not looking straight on at where the strike zone is. Now, obviously, he's a major league pitcher. He knows what the zone is. He's targeting it with every pitch. But I do think it makes it trickier for a pitcher than a catcher who's in a stationary position, for the most part.
Bounced foul by Davis Schneider. Let's take a look at Cruz's delivery.
Yeah, he's going to tilt to his left, coming off. The head is moving. What do hitters tell you when they're trying to make contact with a pitch? You want to keep your head still to see a pitch. So to see a pitch that's 60 feet 6 inches away, if your head's not still, you're raising the difficulty bar there.
Cruz with the payoff pitch. And he walked up. So 18 pitches and 1 out for Fernando Cruz thus far. The bases are loaded. McAdoo goes to third. The pinch runner Cutter Coffey goes to second. Schneider's at first. And a chance for Eloy Jimenez to do more damage this spring. 6 for 14 now at the plate. Wells still in this game. Schneider at first. Oh, no, we got a pinch runner for him as well. That happened fast. That's Carlos Mendoza pinch hitting for Davis Schneider. So the Blue Jays threatening in the 6th with 1 out, bags full. On the ground, could be 2. There's 1. There's 2. Fernando Cruz gets the ground ball he needed, and the Yankees get out of the jam. Yankees coming up to hit in the bottom of the 6th, leading 2-0. Gotham Sports app catching all the action for you this spring as Jazz Chisholm Jr. digs in. Grounded out to third, hit into a double play back in the 1st. New pitcher for the Blue Jays, it's right-hander Nate Garko.
Back to that double play that ended the inning for Cruz and the Yankees, Justin. Exactly what he needed off the bat of Jimenez, and we praised his splitter throughout that inning, but we also talked about the need to avoid the walks, and he did that for most of last year, but across the portion of the final 11 games of the regular season, 10 walks in 8 1/3 innings. That's something that Cruz obviously wants to be able to avoid.
Gets the ground ball to get out of that jam. And they'll be pitching for Team Puerto Rico after today. A lot of changes for the Blue Jays. Chisholm hits that off the hands. Carlos Mendoza is staying in the game in right field. Jonathan Clase, he is in center field. Eddie Micheletti is in right field for Toronto. Another pitch fouled back.
Jazz Chisholm working his way through this at-bat, shaking his head there. Maybe thinks that was a pitch he could have handled. Garko, by the way, at high A and double A last season for the Blue Jays. 86 strikeouts in 53 2/3 innings.
That'll put you on the radar. We talked about this Blue Jays starting rotation and how they would be able to piece together a rotation with their depth as Chisholm grounds it to the right side. Same thing with their bullpen. Jimmy Garcia is not going to be available to start the season. He did bring in Tyler Rogers on a free agent deal for 3 years. Let's take a look at the updated defense with a C. It's only appropriate.
Talk about their bullpen. If I mention Varland, what's the first thing you think of? Maybe.
Oh.
Aaron Judge had off
That's
him.
right.
That series didn't end the way the Yankees wanted it to, but what a moment. What a
Goldschmidt rolls it through into center field for a base hit.
Goldschmidt goes down and gets this, stays back on that pitch. Something soft that he's able to drive right up the middle. Kind of has that Paul Molitor approach. Barely a stride, get that foot down. Drive it back up through the middle the way a batting coach would tell you.
Here's Wells. Yankee starters getting 3 at-bats into this afternoon. And it's hit high in the air. This one's taking it for the bleachers. Austin Wells going yard with a 2-run shot. Yankees double up their lead. It's 4-0. What do you think, Jack? Is that Placido power right there from Austin Wells?
I think Albert Pujols would love to see Wells do that for the DR in the WBC, but that was a slider that was up from Garco, and just a really nice job by Wells driving that ball to right field. We talked about Garco being a strikeout specialist, not doing it with a ton of velocity. And we've got a challenge for you, Justin.
And it's upstairs. So the call overturned.
Another wide margin, so Caballero obviously recognizing that that pitch was up. Count tilts in his direction. I have a question for you. Say this was a regular season game. The Yankees are down to 1 challenge. Now the score is 4-0. I'm going to change the rules. If a 1-0 came, you think in that moment Caballero would have the license to challenge? Do you think they turning 0-1 to 1-0 is it matters, but would you want to save that in case you were wrong?
I am not someone who's going to wait around for a potential late game situation to arise. We'll never know if it comes up, but I probably wouldn't do it first pitch of an at-bat.
In AAA last year, the bulk or more challenges occurred in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. I understand what you're saying about you don't know what might come up, but I would be exasperated if an 8th inning call ended an inning and you had no challenge left because somebody challenged the call in the 6th inning with nobody on base. Now Caballero is doing this in a spring training game, and he was right. I'm just throwing out hypotheticals as to how teams' strategies are going to unfold.
Caballero is now 3 for 3 in ABS challenges in the spring. Rolled to short. Doughty. Tag put on by Horning. Let's check back in with Austin Wells and that power shot.
Yeah, that slider just right out of the hand. It hangs up in the zone. That's not where Garco wanted that pitch to be. Look at Wells. Stay back on it. Crush it. Only the 3rd hit of the game for the Yankees, but a massive one. Pushes them ahead 4-0 right off the outfield bar area.
Here's Ryan McMahon, 0 for 2 today.
McMahon telling Brian Hoke of MLB.com in Tampa that he watched video of Ben Rice and Bryce Harper, a couple of batters who he was trying to glean some information from. We talked earlier about him narrowing that stance. He thinks that allows his hands to stay higher. And the Yankees believe there's a lot more offense to unlock with McMahon.
Darko behind at the count, 2-1. McMahon coming over from the Rockies at the trade deadline, shored up the defense at third base down the stretch.
He is so smooth at third base, Justin, that I envisioned that when he was 5 years old, he was taking 500 ground balls a day. But asked him about it last year, and he said the defensive side of it, or the emphasis on it, as he works out that walk there, came later. That like any kid, he just was offense, offense, offense. But he makes it look so smooth at third base. He really looks like someone who was just born to play that position.
Well, the Yankees said earlier this spring that McMahon is going to get a few reps at shortstop with Volpe and Oswaldo Cabrera returning from injury. You know, Caballero slated to start there, but that also raises the questions of how this bench could look coming out of the gate opening night in San Francisco. As Jonathan Ornelas, number 8 hitter, is up at the plate.
Well, they've got 4 spots to fill on the bench. I think we could all say Goldschmidt and Rosario are getting 2 of those spots. And then after that, I think it gets interesting. If you carry a third catcher, Ascar is making the team. I think Grichuk has an inside track to get one of those spots. They clearly were in pursuit of right-handed hitting. It was something they talked about all off season. The fact that Cabrera hasn't played yet and that the Yankees are slow playing him into spring training, do they perhaps have him start the season in the minor leagues? There's Grichuk, the numbers that he has put up. We talked about the ability to hit left-handed pitching. You look at a guy like Max Schumann, who's on the 40-man roster and brings a lot of versatility. Obviously a candidate as well, so I think it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Schumann's an interesting name because the Yankees know he can play in the infield. They've actually had him get some reps in the outfield in some spring games, trying to see just how far they can move him as a utility player. As Ornelas grounds out to first to end the inning. Yankees get 2 more off the bat. Thursday afternoon, catch the next spring training game on YES as the Yankees take on the Minnesota Twins here at Steinbrenner Field. Live coverage starts at 1 o'clock on YES and the Gotham Sports app. This season, just say yes for Yankees baseball. Yanks lead at 4-0. Tim Hill into the game, following Fernando Cruz and David Bednar. And he deals a first pitch strike to Aaron Parker.
If you're bringing a young fan to a game, Justin, and you want to look really smart, when Tim Hill comes in the game, predict that he's going to throw a lot of sinkers and he's going to get a lot of ground balls, and you're going to look very smart because he throws his sinker 82% of the time, and his ground ball rate last year was 65%. No secret sauce with Tim Hill. That's what he's doing. He's got that funky delivery. He owns left-handed hitters. They hit 181 against him last year with a on-base percentage of .224 and a slug of .220.
Rock foul. He's not afraid to challenge you, obviously.
Knows what his strengths are, sticks with them. The Yankees picked up his option in November. It's a $3 million club option. Savvy move. You want relievers to have different looks, and Tim Hill absolutely brings a different look coming out of the bullpen.
The main lefty weapon out of that pen for the Yankees. And another foul ball. Two and two. A lot of defensive changes for the Yankees after the bottom of the fifth. Pitch again fouled off by Aaron Parker. So in the outfield, Marco Luciano takes over for Spencer Jones in left field. Kennedy Corona is in center field for Trent Grisham. As Hill strikes Parker out. All right, let's take a look at Name That Yankee as we look for our answer.
He was
273 career hitter.
Right,
that's
Justin?
right. He is off to play in the World Baseball Classic. It is Ahmed Rosario.
Scratched because he had traveled. I like that Troy Benjamin started us off with one that we could put on a tee. You think that was a 3?
I would say so.
All right.
I'm going to give it to him. I'm not going to open up the year being Simon Cowell here, Jack.
No, I like teasing. I think 3 was a fair grade.
Kennedy Corona there to put it away. 2 outs.
Going back to that strikeout of Parker, fastball from Hill was 89 miles an hour. But because of that submarine style that he has and the way that he delivers it, it just jumps on hitters and looks like something more, or feels like something more than that to them.
Pitcher challenging the
Challenge time.
And again, it's Tim Hill tapping the hat. So let's see. He's right.
Tim Hill gets the overturn. He was on it.
Yankees keep their remaining challenge. Good sweeping slider, 0-2.
Yeah, that's a nice pitch.
Over to third, and there's the final out. A 1-2-3 7th inning for Tim Hill as he puts the Blue Jays down in order. 7th inning stretch in Tampa. We keep it right here for the Playing
It means a lot to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation that you've taken your time to help us.
The United States is so much better than every other.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Help America's heroes. Donate $11 a month at T2T.org. By the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Deals so right, it almost feels wrong. Only at your local Hyundai dealer. And by Citizens. Made ready. Yankees up 4-0 over the Blue Jays as we move to the bottom of the 7th. Here from Steinbrenner Field in Tampa. The batter, Jorby Vivas. Hitting 9th, where Spencer Jones started the day. Vivas had a couple of stints with the Yankees last season. Bounced to first. Hornung is there. We talked about the whiteout usage in spring training. This is when these whiteout companies, they make their money, Jack. With all the
training for us too, right?
Yeah. Here's Corona. Took over in center field for Grisham. He's had a home run earlier this spring. A couple of nice plays as well in center field. New pitcher is Fernando Perez. Oh, 0-1 to Corona. And we go downstairs here at Steinbrenner Field. Meredith is with Austin Wells.
Thank you, Justin. Austin, you're about to head to the WBC, but before you go, you wanted to make sure you gave a show here to the fans at Steinbrenner Field. Take me through that swing.
Just got a pitch to hit and put a good swing on it. Had a couple guys in front of me. Let me see a few pitches, so it was good. Look,
Hopefully many more to come in the regular season, but does it still feel good to get the first one out of the way?
Yeah, I mean, had to give us something to talk about here, so yeah, feels good.
Now, how excited are you to go play for the Dominican team in the WBC?
Yeah, I can't wait. It's an incredible opportunity. It's going to be awesome. Homer, six swing. So, yeah, it's a great opportunity. I can't wait.
Take us through. What's he thinking as he's rounding the bases here? Young kid.
I mean, that's a sick homer. Good swing. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't think much when I round the bases. So.
I was just going to ask you. Hey, your manager for the Dominican team is going to be Albert Pujols. What excites you most about that, knowing what he accomplished throughout his big league career?
Yeah, just so much experience playing high-level baseball. So I'm looking forward to listening to what he has to say and, getting to experience him managing.
Now you got a couple of guys playing for Team USA. I know you know who they are, and Aaron Judge and David Bednar. How much chatter has there been between the two of you, between the guys from different teams?
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now after we all just came in. So, Great Britain's feeling pretty good in the locker room right now. But, yeah, it's going to be good.
It's funny because Jazz is usually so quiet.
Hey, I don't know. Yeah, he's excited.
Do you feel ready? Do you feel like you are where you need to be in going and playing a full 9 innings?
Yeah, definitely. Happy with how the build-up went. So we got 6 more days, I think, till the first real game. So still going to be building up through those couple days, but yeah, feeling good.
One thing you had noted early this spring when you were talking to reporters is about how you wanted to find a little bit more consistency offensively this year. How do you go about doing so?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. We got a lot of good players on the team who've been consistent for a long time, so picking their brains and, you know, I've been doing that all off season and into this spring training, but just trying to be in the strike zone more and get on base for those guys. I
know you caught Blackburn today, but you also caught some of the younger guys that have really been impressing early. What stood out to you about some of the young arms in this camp?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys competing out there with really good stuff. I was lucky enough to catch Elmer twice. He's got great presence on the mound, you know, calm, cool, collected, and yeah. I caught LeGrand before camp. He's got electric stuff, and there's so many other guys down the list you can talk about. Like you said, great arms in camp, and a lot of young guys that are hungry.
Well, I know you have family here, and you got to get packed, and you got to get going, so we will let you go. Good luck in the WBC.
Thank you.
We'll send it back up to you, Justin.
Thanks so much, Meredith. Great job by Austin Wells on the play-by-play on Kennedy Corona's home run. Quick analysis. Let the TV do the talking, right?
6 swing. He was impressed with Corona taking that deep. Corona, one more look at it. Yeah, he crushed that. I agree with Austin Wells. Corona made it to the major leagues with the Astros last year. Justin had 4 plate appearances, unable to get his first MLB hit. So that still hovers over him. He hopes to have a chance to do that with the Yankees.
Batting here is Marco Luciano, who took over in left field as we take a look at Corona's 6th swing once again. Over that high berm in left field.
It's good flow going. AAA in the Houston organization. 220, 308, 326 slash line.
Luciano strikes out swinging. The 6th swing on site here in Tampa as the Yankees are up 5-0. Back in Tampa in the top of the 8th inning. Jake Bird, new pitcher on the mound for the Yankees. There you see his numbers last season with the Rockies and the Yankees. Struggled in his first couple of games with the Yanks after the trade and was sent to AAA. Playing his 5th big league season.
He likes to spin it, Justin. Throws his sweeper a lot, throws his curve a lot. He'll also mix in a sinker and a cutter. That right there is what he wants to do. He wants to throw that sweeper. He wants to get you to look at it or swing over, and he gets the K right there.
And he rings up Kate Doty. Hey, support America's military and first responder heroes. Donate $11 a month to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation at T2T.org. And a beautiful afternoon at Steinbrenner Field as the Yankees are up 5-0. Saw 4 scoreless for Paul Blackburn. 1 scoreless inning each from Bednar, Cruz, Hill. Now Jake Bird pitches here against Nick Goodwin in the number 9 spot. So, Jack, you saw 3 high leverage relievers. Here you have Bird, a pitcher trying to make the team. Camilo Doval obviously factors in. Today's starter, Paul Blackburn, figures to be down there as well as a reliever to start the season along with Ryan Yarbrough. Maybe there are 2 relief spots that are still up for grabs. Bird trying to fight for one of those.
I think there are 2 up for grabs. I agree with you. I think you look at the group of Bird. As we see, he's probably going to get another out on the ground.
Good hustle play by Vivas at second.
Winquest, the Rule 5 pick. Hedrick is someone they've talked about and liked a lot. De Los Santos is on that graphic as well. So where are you going to turn to have your 8 bullpen pieces? I know in talking to Yankee personnel, despite the fact that Bird struggled last year, they like what he brings. They say that their own hitters, when they face Bird, talk about how difficult an at-bat he is. The Yankees made the very rare move for them of selecting Winquest as a Rule 5 pick. So you want to play that through, right? You want to see what he might be able to bring. The Yankees are working on some things with him, his pitch package as well. And Hedrick is someone that the Yankees have spoken about. They like his velocity. They like that he's added a 2-seamer. The Winquest Rule 5 pick. First time the Yankees had drafted someone in the Rule 5 draft since 2011.
Almost feels like they've gone out of their way at times to talk up a player like Brent Hedrick. So if you read the tea leaves there, just keep an eye on that name right there. And the Yankees could potentially have 3 lefties in their bullpen.
And options play into this too as well, Justin. Who has options, who doesn't?
Bird strikes out Cutter Coffee to end the top of the 8th. Welcome back to Yankee Spring Training, presented by our local Ford stores. From the Bronx to the backcountry, the Ford Bronco lives up to its legendary name. That's why it's the official SUV of the Yankees. Braden Shoemake entering into the game at shortstop for Caballero earlier. Gets a comebacker to the pitcher Fernando Perez. Yankees up 5-0.
We talk about depth, Justin, and roster construction. We mentioned before who might be on the bench for the Yankees. Again, a lot can change between now and when the Yankees open their season, but one thing that could happen with the Yankees is the amount of depth that they could end up having at AAA. We talked about Spencer Jones, and as exciting as he has been this spring training, might not be a spot for him on this roster, it doesn't look. Jason Dominguez trying to show the Yankees that he belongs on the 26-man roster. As we'll see a ground ball shortstop here going to be played across the diamond.
Peyton Henry retired. Hey, tickets for all 2026 Yankees home games are on sale at Yankees.com. This season's home schedule includes some great promotional giveaways and is highlighted by interleague games against the Dodgers and Cardinals, as well as the annual Subway Series games against the Mets. For more information and to get your 2026 Yankee tickets, visit Yankees.com today.
To button that up, Justin, we talked about Cabrera as well, working his way back from that ankle injury. These are, Dominguez and Cabrera have major league time, but because of the way the roster is being constructed and players who might be in front of them, they could end up back at AAA. Spencer Jones could return to AAA. But those are options for you throughout the season. As you said earlier, you're not going to go through an entire season with a 26-man roster. You're going to play twice as many players as 26, and there are ample places for players to make contributions. We've talked about their young pitchers and Hess, LeGrande, and Rodriguez, pitchers they have a lot of high hopes for.
This is off the bat of Nick Torres, and he's retired. 5-0 Yankees, end of 8.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Yankees baseball.
His first spring start this afternoon, and he's standing downstairs with Meredith.
Paul, you re-signed with the Yankees this offseason. What made this a good choice for you?
Yeah, I think, when I came over here last year, just the guys in the clubhouse, first and foremost. It was just a really, really fun time that I had here. And then, with the pitching department, there was a plan in place. I came here, I felt like it was just kind of like a short time thing, and it was cool coming in and kind of having a plan. And just being able to pick the brains of a lot of smart people in that room.
What was it that you saw from that department that made you think maybe they can help get you to another level?
Yeah, I think, I felt like we're on the same wavelength, just on kind of what I was feeling, what I was trying to accomplish, and what I was trying to get better at. I feel like it was hand in hand there. And there's still, a lot of development to be done this year, and we've kind of added a little gyro slider that I threw a little bit today, kind of getting a feel for that, and I think that'll definitely help kind of create some more swing and misses out there.
How did that pitch in particular feel today?
Yeah, it felt good. Really, just kind of getting more consistent with it, and kind of figuring out, where I need to start that pitch. Had some ground balls on it today, which is a good sign. In the zone, just being able to kind of pick those targets a little lower and kind of generate some misses.
How difficult is it to kind of change your repertoire?
Yeah, I feel like this game is always evolving every year. I feel like every year is something different, and just being open to that, and always being willing to try. You go out there and try new things, and you never know.
What are your goals for the 2026 season?
I'm just try and put up as many zeros as I can, at any spot that they need me, and then obviously be the last team standing at the end.
Paul, appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Send it back to you.
Well, that's the interview of the day, brought to you by your local Ford stores. Paul Blackburn has shown the ability to pitch at a high level in the past. He has the opportunity to do it here with the Yankees in 2026, and they believe, like many past relievers, in this case kind of a hybrid, there's something to uncover there.
Yeah, it's his 10th major league season, Justin, and how about the fact that you understand, as we see a strikeout right there, you're always learning, you're always adjusting, you're always adapting. Meredith asked him about shortening his pitch choices a little bit. One more look at this pitch out of Cohen's hand. He gets the strikeout. And we talked about that, how, yeah, he's got 6 different pitches that he throws, but really with the Yankees, it was more sinker, cutter, sweeper, and he's an intriguing pitcher for the Yankees because, as you noted, he's had success in the past. He's got an all-star game appearance on his resume. And in the role that the Yankees are looking him to handle, might be a game where he throws 1 inning. There might be a game where he throws 3 innings. And that's valuable for Aaron Boone.
There are a lot of bullpen possibilities, a lot of bench possibilities for the reasons that we were talking about last inning. Feels like the Yankees have just done a nice job strengthening the margins of this overall roster.
Yeah, I think if you look at the bench, Justin, that they are likely to end up going into the 26 season with and compare it with their 25 bench, it's going to be much stronger because we already noted Goldschmidt and Rosario will be on that bench. Grichuk is likely to be on that bench. And then your final piece could be somebody like Schumann, a very versatile infielder who, as you said, has also seen some time in the outfield. That is a stronger and more versatile and more balanced bench than they had last year.
Fouled off. The pitcher on the mound now is 26-year-old Harrison Cohen, who's going to be pitching for Team Israel in the World Baseball Classic. But he also grew up in Syosset on Long Island, pitched for Cold Spring Harbor High School. Notched a 1.76 ERA in 49 appearances for AA Somerset and AAA Scranton in 2025. And that's after he broke out in 2024 with another sub-2 ERA in 18 games. Went on and pitched well for the Yankees in the Arizona Fall League, so he is on their radar as a relief option should they need one.
And he'll have a friendly face nearby. Brad Ausmus is the manager of Team Israel. He's obviously Aaron Boone's bench coach. So Ausmus will keep an eye on what Cohen does. And there's Brad.
Harrison grew up a Yankee fan on Long Island. This has to be a thrill for him, knowing he's put up back-to-back terrific seasons in the minors. And we get a challenge. Well, they challenged, but they didn't have any left, Jack. Also, this for Meredith. Harrison told Meredith that he absolutely loved the Yes Network growing up. Always watched. Big Michael Kay fan.
We like hearing all of that.
See ya were his first words.
Back to that challenge when you don't have a challenge. Major League Baseball has said that if you ask to challenge when your team is out of challenges, there will not be any penalty or any punishment there. You're not going to get handed a ball in the count or a strike in the count or anything like that. Fan of the Yes Network. That's exciting stuff, Justin.
He's trying to make friends. Eddie Micheletti Jr. Yankees have a 5-0 lead. You heard from Paul Blackburn, who pitched 4 scoreless innings. Heard from Austin Wells, who hit a 2-run homer back in the 6th inning. Kennedy Corona went yard with a 6 swing, in the words of Austin. Yankees and Jays will do it for real for the first time, May 18th to the 21st at Yankee Stadium. And the Yanks make their first trip to Toronto in mid-June.
Yeah, they finished tied for the American League East last year, but obviously the Jays won the tiebreaker by virtue of winning 8 of the 13 games between the teams. Then the Jays ended the Yankee season. Yankees trying to get some redemption against the Blue Jays this year.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Harrison Cohen gets Micheletti to go on the cutter. Take a look at the season series from last year. And it ended with the Blue Jays winning the American League Division Series in 4 games. The Yankees led the league in runs scored and home runs. The Jays leading the league in batting average, on base percentage, and hitting with runners in scoring position. Aaron Parker, last hope for Toronto against Harrison Cohen.
The Yankees won't have this at the start of the season, Justin, but I think it gets real exciting for them when Rodon comes back, when Cole comes back, and when they feel they are full and healthy with that rotation. I think that's when this team is really going to feel it can make a lot of noise this season.
Heard Aaron Boone talk about Garrett Cole and his second live BP session yesterday. Everyone encouraged with where Garrett is at there. Harrison Cohen a strike away. And Parker pops it up. Nick Torres has a drop off his glove. And no runners will advance. So Carlos Mendoza, who walked, looks like he's staying put at second base. Check that. He is at third. Okay. So Mendoza does go to third. I mean, you want to hustle in spring games. He's at third, and up at second is Aaron Parker as the game prolonged by the Blue Jays. And, well, the runner, yeah, Mendoza came all the way around to score. Okay, so he scores from first. Extra hustle, Jack. And up at second is Aaron Parker. The Blue Jays avoid the shutout.
Look as if Torres just got himself turned around a little bit on that fly ball. Sun might have been a factor as well, Justin. Ended up making a somewhat awkward stab at it at the end.
Jonathan Clase, the hitter now. Hits it away, and that's the ball game. Nice play by the Yankees second baseman. Cohen gets the final out, and the Yankees win this spring battle between their AL East rivals. 5-1 the final over Toronto. We'll take a break and come back to wrap it up here from Tampa.